Marker? Are you ready?
I gotta admit, I do not appreciate you condescending me with that whole take two shit. Hi, I'm Kevin. This is YQ. Why tapered muzzles? Redundancy is important. We've covered this a million times, all right? Tapered muzzles, they started back at AAC on the original Honey Badger. I probably said that 100 times, but for all you newbies. All right, so what's the reason to do it? You're gonna say, well, it's not reverse compatible with my cloner A2 birdcage flash hider. Yes, it is. However, the reason, alignment. This is the only thing you need to know. Alignment. That's the most important thing, because I know all of you are cool and you're using silencers because it makes a lot of sense. All right, what is it we're trying to do there? We don't want noise pollution. Why is it that noise pollution is the only acceptable one with you young hippies? All right, it sucks. What are you doing? Why do you keep kicking shit? You got new shoes? So alignment, the number one thing, everybody using silencers. You know what a 90-degree shoulder does? Tapered muzzle, all right, look at that. Where's it focused here now? There's my face. See that taper? Providing you alignment, because all these threads do, just screws the silencer on. If you have a 90-degree shoulder, threads it up to that, doesn't do anything. You have a tolerance with the male and female threads, so it doesn't always align in the same spot, unless you have a taper. It's like a funnel. Everything goes to the center, stays aligned. This is a cool little gun. I could have done a better job with that, but 90-degree shoulder. Have muzzle threads. So, I guess generally, like if you're talking about the M16 rifle or the AR-15, that is just to allow a flash hider to be threaded on. And they used, I don't know, probably like some kind of lock washer or split wash, whatever. And you didn't need alignment because you're not shooting through anything really. You put a silencer on there, taper's way better. So tapers, they give you alignment, all right? All machine tools, your mills, your lathes, everything's tapered. That's how you create precision. We need tapers. We don't need secondary latches. We don't want to use glues and adhesives and crush washers and lock washers and I don't know, whatever else. Like 90-degree shoulder, that's the basic pumpkin spice muzzle device. All right, 90-degree, that's stupid. All right, tapers is where it's at. Tapers also eliminate glues and shims. We just covered that. All right, so what do you want to do? You want to taper on your muzzle device, whether it's your muzzle brake, your flash hider, your silencer, directly onto your barrel. Don't put a bunch of shims and stuff that cause misalignment. It's ridiculous. You don't want to use glues. You're using all these Band-Aids. You know, there's probably some analogy, something I could say. They're like a dam with you plug the hole. I don't know. What the fuck, Thomas? All right, so another great thing about properly designed taper and thread combinations. This is a combination of things, all right? We're making a system. You have to match the taper to the threads if you want things to stay tight. What we go for is a very simple solution to the problem of things not being aligned and coming loose, all right? We coordinate. We mathematically, what do we do there? We calculate the muzzle taper and the muzzle threads. They have to work in conjunction, you know? And there's also reasons we don't put a lot of coatings on our muzzle devices because it causes them to unscrew. But the taper and threads that we use in conjunction, it requires 20% more torque to remove than it does to install. So what does that mean to you? You don't need fast attach mechanisms, extra weight and length and girth. Some of you need that, but we're trying not to put it in your silencer. If we have extra girth, we want it to be volume, because you know what is the best thing for sound suppression, Thomas?
Volume.
My man pays attention. He watches these YQs. So we want to use that. So we don't want to take it up with a bunch of, don't want to take that space up with springs and gadgets and ratchets and stars and quasars. We want volume, just volume. You probably cut that stars and quasars out. That was weird. Anyway, we use them in conjunction. You put these coatings on there, it changes things and they can come loose because we can't control the coatings always. Woo! The girth, the thickness of the coating. We can't control it. And so muzzle devices will come loose. So if you have unnecessary coatings and you have the improper taper and thread combinations, you know what happens? If you don't, you can listen to me or you can email CGS and ask them why all their new silencers come loose on their cherry bomb looking muzzle device, all right? Use 2 course of a thread with the taper they use. So you shoot it rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat without a secondary latch, it comes loose. It's not an indication of tapers and threads being the wrong thing. It's that they need to get some real engineers to calculate that stuff. And you got to do testing and R&D to make sure they don't come loose. And I don't know, they got a lot of smart guys there. Should have done a little more shooting. Could just ask CGS about the taper and thread combinations and things staying tight, or not if you don't know what you're doing. Why does everybody copy the cherry bombs in our muzzle devices? Because they're right. All right, that's why. Taper and threads started with the honey badger, originally at AAC. You know why we did it? Because the QD mechanisms on silencers generally have a negative effect on accuracy, point of impact shift. They definitely have more parts and add weight and length to the silencer and then to your muzzle, which we don't want. So we do the most simplistic thing possible because you should be using a silencer. Oh, and now look, everybody does it. Everybody copies the cherry bomb, the quickie mount. There's a reason it's good. Anyway, the proper taper and thread combination on your muzzle, it's like those Kegel exercises, keeps things tight. You know what I'm talking about. Well, some of you, probably not any of you on Reddit, but the rest of us know what I'm talking about. And that's why tapered muzzles, they're important.